Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. So this is kind of like my first posing review with the light effects on. And if you've been watching the channel, I've done three sort of reviews on the different lights on this piece of equipment I acquired off my friend. Check out Ray's collection and subscribe, because he's the guy that supplied me with this bit of technology. So I've got this kind of lighting effect on the figures, which is like a red wash of light, and I'm going to come in close, and it kind of creates sort of nice sort of mood overall, and kind of sharpens out the colours on the figures. And that's the armourer, as you can see, my second, or my joint second favourite figure from the Mandalorian wave. The other guy being Paz Vizsla. This is the armourer taking on a stormtrooper. Now that stormtrooper there was $2.99. That's my cheapest Black Series Star Wars figure acquisition, and the box wasn't even damaged. I just went into toy outlet and I saw a couple of Star Wars figures next to the till, and that was the price. So I bought it, and this is quite a good likeness to what they look like in the Mandalorian series, because they work for cartels and they look a bit weather weary on the armour and battle damaged. But I like that angle, and that's the armourer taking out a stormtrooper, which does happen because in the first season the stormtroopers come into the lair of the armourer, where she makes the weapons and the armour, and she uses those forging weapons to take out about 6 or 7 of them. So I'm going to pause it and put the stormtrooper on his feet just to see what that looks like. So I'll put him on his feet, that stormtrooper. That's not bad. If I come in close, not bad at all. And that's kind of a contact pose there. Not bad. So yeah, the armourer is kind of a mentor to all the Mandalorian bounty hunters, especially to Din Djarin. I think that's the pronunciation of his name, but that's not too bad. And what I'll do, I'm going to end this particular sequence on the blue wash, so I'm just going to pause it and show you what that looks like. Interesting. That's the blue wash. Looks kind of a different kind of mood on camera, but it still works. What I did before I started filming, I was testing out the different colours that would go with these figures, and the red and the blue seem to work. Just getting another angle shot there. I do like that. Nice and close. So what I'll do now is I'll leave it on the blue wash, and I'll bring out a couple of more figures. So I've decided to get Mandalorian on there and leave the Stormtrooper in the same pose. And I quite like the way that looks. He's using the butt of his rifle there across the head of the Stormtrooper. And that red wash seems to make that chrome coloured armour pop. I do like that. Let's come in a different angle. Yeah, quite like that. So what I might do now is put that Stormtrooper on his knees like I did for the armourer, and show you that dynamic. That's not bad. As a close-up. Okay, let's try that then. Stormtrooper on one knee. So there's the old Stormtrooper on one knee, and that's nice. Very nice. Let's come out a bit and see it from a distance. So now that the Mandalorian is now on DVD, I've kind of caught up to the final season, so unfortunately Paz Vizsla, one of my favourite characters in The Mandalorian, does get killed off. But I've also seen a trailer for Mandalorian and Grogu. And I always have these reservations, as I said, when you get great things like, say, Game of Thrones or Game of Thrones and Mandalorian, then you hear they're being turned into films. You wonder if they've got the staying power to do over 2.5 hours. But I'm praying that they do, because they're in my collection, those seasons, and I would like to enjoy them as movies. As I said before, I haven't got the Mandalorians. I've got one of them. I need to get the other two. So that is the red wash. And I'm going to put the blue wash on just to see what that looks like before I move it on. So that's the blue wash. It's kind of made the kind of mood colder, but not in a bad way, because I like the armour, the look of the armour on Mandalorian there. You can see a tinge of blue on the silver, which is good. So it does create a nice look on camera. Let's go from that angle. I do like the way he looks. I've got the head slightly tilted down towards the Stormtrooper, so you can get some sort of dynamic connection. But I like the movement of those figures. And so, coming in close, I shall pause it and bring in another figure. So we've got Moff Gideon now and Mandalorian, both with black sabers. Now my upgrade here on the left, Mandalorian, did come with a black saber, but before that, on one of my old Mandalorians, I took the black saber off Moff Gideon there and put it with that figure. And now I've got two black sabers, I don't have to do that. So I'm able to create this sort of combat pose. Just going to come in a bit closer. In the red wash, which is what you're seeing. And yeah, even though when they actually meet, Mandalorian has his black saber, he's taken it from him and he's in a fight with him. And eventually that black saber gets given to, I think it's Bo Kreese Katan, or something like that, who's head of the Night Owl Squadron. But I decided in my imagination that they both got black sabers and they're having a battle, which I quite like. So I'm going to change out that pose and see if I can improve on that. So I've taken off the cloak off Moff Gideon, and I've got them in this dynamic. I've changed Moff Gideon onto the left side of the platform and Mandalorian on the right. Not too bad, that angle. Not too bad there. Let's see if I can do a contact pose, see what that looks like. I do like the way the colours look on the figures of the red light mode. Let's see if we can get a decent pose. So there's a little contact pose there between the two black sabers. Get a close up there. And I like that. Let's pull it back to that angle. Take it out far and come in close. That's not bad there. So the blades are obscuring Mandalorian now. but I do like what it looks like overall. Let's see the angle of Moff Gideon kind of over the shoulder of Mandalorian. Not bad. Let's get a bird's eye. That's not bad. Yeah. So I do like the way I'm using the red wash and the blue wash on these figures for this review. So what I might do is probably one more pose and finish it with both the red wash on the figures and the blue wash. So let's get the last pose done. So the one knee pose for both of these guys, I do like that dynamic. And Mandalorian there has been blocked by the Sith Lord, Moff Gideon. And I'll pause it and then I'm going to change their positions on the platform, but I'm not going to change the pose. Okay, let's change their positions on the platform just to see what that looks like on camera. That's a nice one. Mandalorian is square on. Got the side of Moff Gideon there. That's nice. Let's come back. Pan it around. It's not bad there. Let's just try it slightly different in terms of their positions, and then I'm going to wind it up. So let's just move them slightly. Wanted to try this one. I think I'm going to tweak it though. Initially it looks good, but I want to do a few little things just to change it up a little bit. But we're in the ballpark in terms of the way I want the pose to go. So let's just see if I can tweak it. Let's tweak it. Not quite the tweak I was looking for, but I'll show it all the same. I just moved Mandalorian only a fraction of an angle over to the left side of the Moff Gideon figure and tilted his head, which I think I can notice that, but I want to change it up and see one more pose before I call it a day. So that's not a bad one. I'm more happy about the Mandalorian pose than I am about the Moff Gideon, but I'm going to change Moff Gideon one last time. Let's get an angle there. Not bad. I do like the way I've tilted the head of Mandalorian down towards Moff Gideon just to get that dynamic. But I'm going to change Moff Gideon out and then I'll call it a day, and I really do promise it will be the last one. So this then is the final pose, guys. I've squared Moff Gideon up to camera. I've had him draw his sidearm. Just wanted to show that on camera to see what that looked like. And Mandalorian is bearing down on him, but he's got these dark Sith instincts to not be able to necessarily look at his opponent and block that black saber attack by Mandalorian. I like that look. Let's go around for a different angle. I like the way that looks. Let's come in a bit closer for that contact pose of these two sabers. And yeah, his likeness is not bad actually. I know there's another one of him, and he's in the what they call the Death Trooper look, black armoured, a bit like a stormtrooper. And like Jango Fett and Boba Fett, you get a helmet with him that you can put over his head sculpt, so you don't have to change out any heads. I was tempted because it was only $8.99, and he is the look he has in the final season of Mandalorian, in which Paz Vizsla gets killed. So yeah, a little bit of irrelevant information. So that is the red wash. So we're going to put the blue wash on and call it a day. So I'll just pause that first and show you the Moody blue wash. So this is the blue wash. I do like the way it looks. He's got the blue on, but it changes the dynamic of that colour there. And then if I come to Mandalorian, he's got tinges of blue on his armour there, which I do like. Let's get another angle. That's not bad there. Come up close. Yep. Coming back a bit. And let's change it to the front. I'll come out far now, just want to see a distant shot. Not much detail, so it's better to come in close to wind it up. I do like that look. So I think I'll leave it there actually. So that was my first attempt at doing some combat poses with the Armourer, a Stormtrooper, Moff Gideon and Mandalorian, using the two light settings of the blue wash and the red wash. So we're ending this segment and this review with the blue wash, and I do like the way it looks. And I'm thinking of doing Azrael next and Hush Batman in combat poses, but if I get my Troika Batman before that, he'll be going up in front of the camera next. So on that note, I'll say thanks for watching. Let's get a big close up there. That's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.